They told me I survived the fire that killed my father. But last night, someone slipped a photo under my door, a photo of me, laughing in the sun, taken just days ago, and signed with my real name. A name I haven't used since I disappeared. Now, I know the truth didn't burn with him. It's waking up inside me. The storm outside cracked through the sky like a judgment. I watched it from the window of my small rented apartment, where the glass shivered but didn't break. I hadn't unpacked much, just the essentials. No pictures, no memories, no proof of the woman I used to be. My name is Isla Darrow, but no one here knows that. They know me as Isla North. It was the last name on the fake ID I bought after everything collapsed back in Boston. 5 months ago, I disappeared without a trace. Not because I wanted to, because I had no choice. It started with love. Doesn't it always? I met Marcus in the archives of the Halberton Law Library, where I worked late shifts cataloging case files, and he claimed to be researching criminal procedure. He wasn't a student. He wasn't even a lawyer, but he looked the part. Tailored suits, perfect posture, a voice like he'd swallowed a secret. He made me feel like I was made of something rare. His attention didn't feel like love at first. It felt like curiosity. But then the dinners turned into nights, the nights into mornings, and before long he had keys to my apartment and a toothbrush next to mine. He made promises in the dark that I believed. Why me? I asked him once, half asleep, head on his chest. He kissed my forehead and said, "Because you're the only one who doesn't lie to me." But Marcus lied to me every single day. It started with a name, then a different company, then missing time hours he couldn't account for. I should have asked more questions. I should have left, but I did not until the day I opened the envelope under the sink. I wasn't even looking for it. I had just run out of paper towels. But the moment I saw my name typed on that top sheet, Isla Darrow, social security number, mother's maiden name, high school transcript, something inside me cracked. I wasn't just being watched. I was studying. He wasn't Marcus Trellick. His real name was Micah Roan, and he had been sent for me. I took the file, the cash in my drawer, and I ran. Now, 5 months later, I live in a coastal town 2 hours outside Chicago, working as a florist's assistant and renting a furnished apartment above an antique store. I wear my hair shorter. I use cash only. I have no phone, and I never ever look anyone in the eyes for too long. But people still find you when they want to. And someone was watching me again. It started with the flowers. On Monday, a bouquet of blue hyacinths arrived at the shop. No card. The deliveryman said it had been prepaid. On Tuesday, it was forget-me-nots. On Wednesday, white tulips, the same kind I had placed on my mother's grave 3 years ago. By Thursday, I couldn't breathe. That night, I found an envelope slipped under my door. It held a single Polaroid. Me walking out of the florist's shop, head turned toward the sun, laughing, and scrawled in red marker on the back, "We found your smile. Next, we'll find your truth." I didn't sleep that night. I sat with the lights off, a knife in my hand, every muscle wired and waiting. But nothing came. No knock, no sound. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the creak of the old floorboards. In the morning, I left the apartment and walked until my legs shook. I ended up near the marina, where fog laced over the water like breath held too long. That's where I saw him. Not Micah. Not someone I knew. Just a man. He sat on a bench feeding crumbs to seagulls. Tan coat, gloves, face hidden behind a newspaper. He never looked at me, but I could feel it, that cold, deliberate stillness of someone pretending not to notice you. I turned and walked, fast, but not fast enough. When I reached a corner, a voice called my name. Not Isla North. Isla Darrow. I didn't turn. I ran. I didn't go back to the apartment. I didn't go to work. I went straight to the train station, paid cash for a ticket to Milwaukee, and sat in the terminal bathroom with my head between my knees, waiting for the train time to be called. That's when the bathroom light flickered. Once, twice, and then shut off. Someone else was in the room. I could hear the slow, steady scrape of their shoes against the tile. Then a voice, soft, familiar. "Isla, he's not your biggest problem anymore." I held my breath. The knife was still in my coat pocket. My fingers gripped it until they ached. The footsteps stopped just outside my stall. Silence. And then the door creaked open, not mine. The one next to it. I waited. They left. When I opened the stall door, there was no one. Just a folded note on the sink that hadn't been there before. You need to stop running. He's not chasing you. I am. And I'm not doing it for revenge. I'm doing it for justice. That night, I checked into a motel, burned the note, slept with the knife under my pillow. But I couldn't stop the thoughts from spinning. What if Micah hadn't been the villain? What if someone else had sent him? What if I'd never truly known the danger I was in? And what if the reason they were all watching me wasn't about what I'd done, but about what I knew and had forgotten? Because somewhere, buried in the past I left behind, was a truth I had never uncovered. A truth someone was willing to kill to keep hidden, and the terrifying part. I think I'm ready to remember the motel room smelled like bleach and broken trust. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together the edges of a life I hadn't realized was missing. I used to believe I had no secrets, that my life had been quiet, ordinary, forgettable, but someone was telling me otherwise. Someone who knew more about my past than I did. And Micah, Ron, or Marcus, or whoever he was, had only been the start. By morning, I had a plan. I needed to go back, not to Boston, but to the one place I swore I'd never set foot in again, Thorn Ridge, the town I grew up in, where my mother died, where my father disappeared, where everything twisted. And no one had mentioned my father in years. The town believed he'd died in a fire when I was 16, a fire that took 3 lives and burned half the Darrow estate to the ground. I was pulled from that house unconscious. The smoke had erased hours from my memory, maybe more. I never asked what happened. I never wanted to know. Until now. The train to Thorn Ridge was half empty. I sat in the last car near the emergency exit, with a scarf pulled over my face. A girl across the aisle stared at me like she recognized something but couldn't place it. I turned toward the window. When I stepped off the train, the air hit me like a memory. Crisp, silent, suspicious. This town didn't change. Neither did the house. The remains of the estate sat like a skeleton on the hill, gated, chained, overgrown with ivy. But I still had the key, worn silver, tied to a piece of red ribbon I kept in my old violin case. The lock clicked open like it had been waiting inside. The ash was gone, but the pain remained. Charred wood, walls stripped down to beams. But one thing stood untouched: a mirror in the hallway. My mother's mirror, and etched behind the glass, barely visible under years of dust. The silence isn't what hides the truth. It reveals it. That's when I remembered the study. The door was still locked, but the frame had warped. I pried it open with the heel of my boot. The room was intact, or close to it. The old floorboards, the desk with the false drawer, and my heart stopped. A thick manila envelope addressed to me, my real name, my handwriting, but I didn't remember writing it. Inside were newspaper clippings, photographs, and a memory stick. I borrowed an old laptop from the library the next morning and opened the files. What I saw nearly sent me to the floor. Micah wasn't just an agent. He was my father's informant. My father, Declan Darrow, hadn't died in the fire. He'd faked his death to escape prosecution, not for fraud, like they claimed, but to protect national security. He had been part of a government program researching neurological suppression, creating false memories in select individuals for classified operations. And I had been one of the test subjects, voluntarily. I had asked for it. The procedure erased key memories of the project, my role, my father's identity, Micah's assignment. But something went wrong. When the fire happened, whether by accident or staged, a shock made the suppressed memories unstable. That's why Micah had been sent to me, to monitor what I remembered, to protect me, and maybe to fall in love. There was one final file, a video clip, dated 3 days before the fire. It showed me standing in the lab, beside my father, holding a vial of something, and saying, "If they find out what we've done, none of us will survive." Then I looked straight into the camera. "Erase everything. If you love me, erase me too." I closed the laptop. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers shook. Micah hadn't betrayed me. I had made him promise to forget, to lie, to keep me safe even from myself. That night, I went back to the motel. I opened the window for air, and there he was, standing across the street. No disguise, just waiting. Micah. My heart slammed against my ribs, torn between rage, relief, and something even deeper, love that had never stopped burning. I walked down to him, slow at first, then faster. When I reached him, neither of us spoke. We just stared. Then I said it. You lied to me. He nodded. I did, because you begged me to. Tears blurred my vision. Why are you here now? Because it's over, he said. They're coming for you. Not because of what you remember, but because of what you never forgot. I didn't understand, not until I saw the car parked at the end of the street. Two men in dark suits stepped out. I turned to run, but Micah grabbed my hand. No more running, Isla. You're not the weapon they think you are. He pressed something into my hand, a flash drive. It's the backup. The only evidence left. They want to bury it. They want to bury you. Then what do we do? I whispered. He smiled faintly. We remind them who wrote the code. We disappeared that night. Together. Changed names. New faces. But not new hearts. And when I opened the file again, the one Micah saved, I saw something that no one else knew. Another video. Shorter. Dated the day after the fire. My father. Alive. Staring into the lens. Whispering one sentence. She wasn't the subject. She was the creator. That's when I finally understood. The project wasn't done to me. I built it. I made myself forget, to protect the world from the very thing I had created. But now, I remembered, and they were right, to be afraid.